ये स्विट्जरलैंड का केक है,
अमेरिका में लोग थोड़ा खाता है थोड़ा फेंकता है।
तुम भी खाओ।
बहुत मजा आएगा।
देश की उन्नति की पहचान अगर किसी चीज से होती है तो वो है गटर।
एक कैमरामैन और मॉडल का रिश्ता ऐसा है जैसे एक डॉक्टर और मरीज का, उनके बीच में कोई पर्दा नहीं होता। सारे पर्दे गिरा दीजिए।
These are, of course, some of the most iconic and memorable lines from a movie that had no songs, no big stars, no massive budget or release, and yet became one of the most loved movies of our times. We are, of course, talking about the cult classic Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron, is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of one of the best comedies ever made in Indian cinema. Hello, friends. I'm Bharath. This is Neelima, and welcome to After the Interval,
इंटरवल के बाद
the rewatchable podcast where we discuss and debate the most iconic, fun, super hit movies of Indian cinema. Because the best part of any cinema isn't the movie, it's always the conversation after. Our first segment, Zamana Kya Kehta Hai, where Neelima and I provide a little bit of context about the time when the movie was made. The movie, of course, came out in 1983. India was a country that had learned over the decades not to expect too much, certainly not from the system, not from its institutions, and certainly not from its cricket team. And then June 25th happens. Just a few weeks before Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron is released, Lord's Cricket Ground in London, the West Indies, the greatest team in the world, the most feared country in the history of the game, was expecting a walkover, and a bunch of young Indians, led by a man named Kapil Dev, told the world, not today.
And that's out. Yes, it's all over this time. Lost his nerve in the end, did Michael Holan. Tried to swing that straight ball to leg. It's another
India won the Cricket World Cup for the first time ever. And I remember, and I think a lot of you listening remember that feeling, that a bunch of underdogs with nothing but belief, a little bit of madness, could take on a broken, stacked world and win. And that same year, in a tiny studio with almost no money, a young filmmaker from the Film and Television Institute of India named Kundan Shah gathered a group of equally unknown, equally mad believers and made this amazing movie, Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron. A film that, just like the cricket team, nobody gave a chance, and a film that, just like the cricket team, changed everything.
let me go over what was happening on the entertainment front. 1983 was peak Amitabh. He was everywhere. Coolie released that year, and we know what happened while he was shooting for Coolie, so the entire country was rooting for him. On TV, Hum Log was just around the corner, India's first proper soap opera, and the country was about to fall in love with the idea of watching stories in their living room every evening. And in Bollywood, the biggest hits of 83 were Hero, which was Jackie Shroff's debut, fantastic music and amazing leading pair. Betab with it was Sunny Deol's big debut, big stars, big songs, big everything.
Wow, two major film debuts also that year, not to mention Tataya, Tataya. Oh.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
and the songs of Hero and Beta, which we listened to countless times, and this makes what Kundan Shah did even more remarkable. He made a movie with no stars, no songs, no masala, just a camera and a script, and the most talented ensemble ever assembled in one Indian film. Besides the amazing star cast, on the technical crew, you had Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Sudhir Mishra, Vanraj Bhatia, who wrote the music, Vinod Pradhan, and the late Renu Saluja, who superbly edited the film. Much of the locations were shot against a semicircular backdrop of high rises in Bombay in different stages of construction. It kind of added to the appeal of the movie.
I actually did not watch the movie until 1989, Neelima. So the movie came out in 83. My dad was posted in Port Blair, so we didn't get too many movies there. The summer of 1989, we had all finished 10th grade. We talked about that on the last podcast. So we got the VCR was at home, got and we used to rent VHS tapes,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
right? So we could get all these VHS tapes and we watched a lot of movies. Some that I can share on the podcast, others that I can't.
Okay.
But I mean, we watched Teza over the summer. We watched QSQT over the summer. So we watched a lot of movies. We rented the tapes, of course. You'd go to the VHS studio, rent it for a day, take it back. But what I remember about that summer and when we went back to school is we watched all these movies, but all the dialogues in class in 11th grade when we went back to school, we're starting from all the famous dialogues from Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron.
Mhm.
Somebody would talk in class and we would be like, Shant, Garadari Bhim, Shant, right? So at lunch, there would always be dogs around our classroom. Somebody would feed the dogs and somebody would say, Thoda Khaao, Thoda
Thoda
Pheko.
Pheko. Yeah,
What were you, when
it's
did you see it?
I was lucky. I saw the movie with my cousins in a Hyderabad theater the summer it was released. But I was very young then, and I remember laughing my guts out at Satish Shah's scenes, the Mahabharata scene. But I was wondering why the good guys lost at the end, despite you showing all the proof to the police. And also, Shobhaji didn't have a redemption arc or die at the end. This went against all the movies I had watched until then. So my
Yeah.
brain couldn't comprehend that in the real world, good guys lost sometimes, and flawed people like Shobhaji live and thrive well without having to transform themselves or die.
No, that's true. And then, of course, amazing and so many awards for the movie. When it came out initially, wasn't a big hit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So let's just go over the few of the facts of the movie in the Pehla Nasha section. So it was released 12th August 1983. As you know, it was directed by Kundan Shah. It was his debut feature straight out of FTII. It was produced by the National Film Development Corporation, a government body, which means that the Indian government funded the greatest satire ever made about the Indian government corruption.
Yeah, we're going to give money to a young filmmaker that's going to expose everything dirty about how things are run in the country.
Absolutely. And the budget was just 5.5 or 6 lakh rupees. It was shot on location across Bombay on real streets with real chaos. And it wasn't a hit on a release. It was just a moderate run, quiet, almost invisible exit. And then something remarkable happened. Word of mouth, VHS tapes passed hand to hand, and a generation discovered it in the dark without marketing, without stars telling them, Jao jaake dekho theater mein.
Jaake dekho.
And I'm going to read you a list of the awards that
Yeah.
this movie got. Ravi Baswani got the Filmfare Award for Best Comedian, Indira Gandhi Award for the Best Debut Film of a Director. And of course, it regularly features in the top 10 greatest Indian films of all times.
Very true, Neelima. And you were talking about some of the scenes in the movie. Can we even comprehend such scenes being made today? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's remarkable that not only was the film released in its entirety, no cuts, no censorship. We can't imagine that happening in this day and age. In fact, the budget was so tight that many in the cast recollect eating just lauki and dal, sleeping on the floor of the sets as they couldn't afford anything better. And the producers couldn't afford to give the cast the tickets as well for when the movie premiered. Imagine all of them in one room for almost nothing. That never happens today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, you can't even imagine. It's probably Sholay, for example, definitely had an ensemble cast, no doubt. But in terms of sheer talent, in terms of the number of awards that a movie has won, this has to be right up there. What I find just endlessly fascinating about Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron's plays is that in many ways, Amitabh was doing the same thing. Take
Agreed.
Diwar, take Trishul, take Coolie, Anda Kanun.
तुम लोग मुझे ढूंढ रहे हो और मैं तुम्हारा यहाँ इंतजार कर रहा हूँ। आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
Film after film, he was talking about a broken system, about corruption, about the ordinary man being crushed by power. But Amitabh's answer to the broken system was rage. But the genius of Kundan Shah, Satish Kaushik, and all these folks, Sudhir Mishra, is they took that same idea of a broken system, but instead of fighting it, they said, what if we laughed at it? What if we made the corruption so absurd, so nakedly ridiculous that the only sane response was to collapse in laughter? Same diagnosis, completely different prescription. That prescription has proven to be so much more durable because the anger eventually exhausts itself, but the absurdity never goes out of date.
Totally agree. And I think that's one of the reasons why the movie has endured so well. Let's move on to our next segment, Baki Sab First Class, where we go over the peer films of 1983 when Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron was released. When you watch the movie recently, Bharat, what do you think still holds up and what doesn't?
What has, for me, aged perfectly, Neelima, and I mean perfectly, is the core theme. Corrupt builders, corrupt politicians, corrupt media, corrupt police, all scratching each other's backs while two young, ordinary, idealistic people get destroyed for trying to do the right thing. If you told me that that film was made in 2025 or 2026, I would
You
believe
still
you.
believe that? Yeah.
In that sense, nothing has changed. The Mahabharata sequence, timeless. The physical comedy, still hilarious. The ending where the heroes, the good guys go to jail and the villains walk free, that is a perfect social commentary to even today's times. What hasn't aged well? Okay, some of the pacing in the middle section drags a little bit. The good news about the movie is it's short, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes. Satish Shah's character, and we'll get into it, DeMello, is killed at exactly the half point. So, interval ke baad, we have one of the most iconic roles of all time. A couple of the gender dynamics, the way Neena Gupta's character is used as a honey trap. You and I would feel differently about that now.
Yeah. But such characters still exist in our movies. So, yeah, we'll forgive them for that. And to add to what hasn't aged well as a society, our intolerance to a different viewpoint, the forgotten ability to laugh at ourselves, and the lack of space for just the common man protagonist in our current movies. I miss that.
100% agree with you on that. But here's the thing, the reason Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron, I believe, features on every all-time list is precisely because the core of that is so true, so unflinching, that time has only sharpened it. Most comedies, unless it's a classic, age badly. I don't know that we'll talk about Golmaal and Dhamal 40 years from now. But Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron, I think will be
It will live on.
fresh
Yes.
always.
Yeah.
All right, Neelima, I've got a surprise segment for you.
Wow.
We are going to have some fun now. This is what I was thinking about. To qualify for an all-time comedy movie list, the movie has to have some quotable lines that we can all instantly recognize. I'm going to now name a few of the movies on my, say, top 10 comedy list. I'll give you the name of the movie, and you must quote from the movie a quote, a song, anything else within seconds. If you don't, we take the movie off the list. Okay?
Okay, let's do it.
First one, Padosan.
एक चतुर नार
एक चतुर नार करके सिंगार एक चतुर नार करके सिंगार मेरे
Gone. Done. Well done. Golmaal, the old one.
oh yeah, कौन कहता है कि हिटलर मर गया?
मामा जी
कौन कमबख्त कहता है कि हिटलर मर गया?
Girl, you're something else. 2 for 2. Next one. This is my all-time favorite. Angur.
Angur, yeah. I remember a song that is used as a hint between Devan Verma.
प्रीतम आ मिलो हो दुखिया जीवन
Also, one more.
Yes.
बहादुर, ये मैं क्या सुन रहा हूँ? तू बाप बनने वाला है.
पकोड़े लाया हूँ अरे बहादुर तू बाप बनने वाला है बाप
This is a real trick question.
Okay.
Namak halal.
English is a very funny language.
Because Baron becomes Barrow and Barrow becomes Baron because their minds are
Minds
so
are very
narrow.
narrow.
Sir, I can talk English, I can walk English, I can laugh English because English is a very funny language.
A couple more. Andaz apna apna.
क्राइम मास्टर गोगो नाम है मेरा. आंखें निकाल के गोटियां खेलता हूँ, गोटियां.
क्राइम मास्टर गोगो नाम है मेरा आंखें निकाल कर गोटियां खेलता हूँ मैं गोटियां
We are excellent. Last one. Hera Fairy.
ये बाबुराव का स्टाइल है.
ये बाबूराव का स्टाइल है
Neelima, you are amazing. So well done. All right. Our next segment is Masti Ki Pathshala.
Every great cinema tradition has its factory. Hollywood has the studio system on one side, and also film festivals such as Sundance that encourage independent films that focus on unique artistic visions, diverse storytelling, and often character driven narratives. In India, we have Bollywood movies, which we always open to discuss, and we also had a small campus in Pune called the Film and Television Institute of India. And for a brief blazing period in the 70s and 80s, it produced a generation of actors, directors, and writers who changed Indian cinema forever. Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron is, in many ways, the greatest FTII reunion ever put on screen. Nasir had been working since Nishant in 1975, Shyam Benegal's beautiful film about village power and oppression. Then Junoon,
Oh.
Sparsh, and Masoom came. Masoom also came in 83.
इंदु, तेरी जिंदगी में एक और लड़की आई थी.
ऐसी बातों में मजाक नहीं करते.
मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ इंदु. मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
If Nasir was FTII's poet, Om Puri was its warrior. He came from nothing, Neelima, genuinely nothing. Apparently, when he showed up, his family was so poor that he didn't even have decent clothes. He couldn't pay his tuition fees at the FTII. And there is this running joke that he never actually paid them back all the dues. Just that wonderful stubbornness about him. And by 1983, had already won a national award for Arohan. And then you mentioned this movie, Ardh Satya.
मुझे तुम्हारी चाहना होती है और तुम मुझे नहीं मिल पाती तो मैं और पीता हूँ.
Absolutely amazing acting. Just the way Om Puri could convey emotion with his eyes
Alice, yes,
was
yes.
unparalleled. And so for one man to have two all-time classics, Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron and Ardh Satya in 1 year, unfortunately gone too soon.
And you mentioned he had 2 national awards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he deserved many more. Yeah.
Many more, no doubt.
I'll go next about Pankaj Kapur. Pankaj Kapur walked into Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron having made exactly one film before. One. Arohan, also for Shyam Benegal, in 1982. He was 29 years old, fresh out of the National School of Drama, another great institute that gave us many great actors. And Kundan Shah handed him the role of Tarneja, the slippery, corrupt builder, and he made it completely and chillingly his own. What happened next is one of the great slow burn careers in Indian cinema. Karamchand on television with the Gajar.
थोड़ी सी जल्दी आप अगर मेरा कोट दे दें तो बड़ी मेहरबानी हो जाएगी जिन्हें खान साहब दरअसल मैं यहाँ पे अपना कोट लेने के लिए आया था
A generation grew up watching him. Raak, Ek Doctor Ki Maut, and our favorite Makbul.
Madbul. One of my favorites next, Neena Gupta. I've got just, Neelima, mad respect for Neena Gupta. One of my most favorite movies in recent times is the absolutely hilarious Badai Ho. which is definitely worthy of a rewatchable.
डॉक्टर ने कही कि मेहमान आने वाला घर में।
छोटा मेहमान।
Her story is different from everyone else on the list. Nasir, Om, Pankaj, their trajectories, while always it was not very smooth, it was generally upward. Neena Gupta's wasn't, despite all the talent, the roles dried up. And then there's, of course, this amazing personal story with Viv Richards and their daughter, Masaba. She kept working, she kept showing up. But what's amazing is social media. Yay! In 2017, she posts this thing on Instagram that says, I mean, just the courage for her to be able to do this. Hey, I live in Mumbai. I'm a good actor looking for good parts to play. She posts this on Instagram. Next thing you know, the response is overwhelming. Badai ho happens. A whole generation of producers, directors, fans rediscover her. So her story for me is not just a movie career arc. For me, it's a lesson in class and dignity. And of course, she's won multiple national awards.
I'll go next about Bhakti Barve. Bhakti Barve, or Shobhaji of Khabardar magazine, was a celebrated actress from the Marathi stage and movies. She held her own against all these stalwarts. She played the role of Shobhaji, who is attractive, scheming, manipulative, daring, street smart, and in short, a total chameleon. Her character was allegedly based on Shobha Day, the then editor of Stardust magazine. Bhakti Barve was lesser known in rest of India, but can you imagine any other actress in her place?
Maybe we should talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, certainly. But what I did not know is Bhakti Barve was married to Shafi Namdar.
Yep.
And kind of tragic, Neelima, that Shafi passed away, I think in 1996. He was a 50. And then Bhakti Barve passed away a few years later, I think 2001, killed in an automobile accident. Just
Accident, right? Yeah.
very, very sad about
So
that.
sad. Yeah.
And talking about people who are not with us, I want to end with the two Satishes. And folks, if you can see me today, this is in honor of the man and the character, and we'll talk about the character in a second. FTII graduate. Tell us more about him.
Yeah, he played the most famous cops in Indian cinema history. No one before him, no one after. He then went on to become Indravadan Sarabhai, the iconic Indravadan Sarabhai in Sarabhai versus Sarabhai, who made an entire country laugh for 4 decades. And apparently, I heard this in one of the interviews that Satish Shah was the only guy who ad libbed on the set. And all the others just were reciting the dialogues that were written by the director. So that's
a
another
great point, Neelima. Everyone that watches the movie, now that we know who these actors are, we think, especially the set pieces, and we'll get into that, these guys must have probably just ad-libbed it. And there's an interview with Nasir online where he says, actually, no. Kundan Shah had such a vision for the movie that the whole thing was scripted, except for Satish's role.
Satish. Yeah.
And what a role.
Yeah.
And of course, the other Satish is Satish Kaushik, who wasn't just acting in the films. By the way, he wrote the dialogues. God bless the man. Some of the best dialogues, most memorable dialogues in Indian movie history. He co-directed the movie. And I think he was the creative scaffolding that kind of held the movie together. And of course, he's got Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron, and then he gave us calendar in Mr. India.
कहाँ मर गए थे? जी अपने रूम में मर गया था. भाई गॉड 5 बरस हो गए 5 बरस. इस घर में सैलरी नहीं देखी. किस कलर की होती है?
One way or the other, Sridevi is part of every one of our episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, we both are such huge Sridevi fans. We'll find any excuse to bring her into
Just
the
bring
conversation.
her up.
Yeah.
If Janvi Kapur ever watches this, Janvi, we want to let you know there are no greater fans for your mom than Bharath and Neelima.
Yeah.
All right. The next segment, we'll do this quickly, is called Kismat Ka Khel. This is our casting, what ifs. So you asked about Bhakti Barve earlier. Before that, I have a quick question for you. The film was made with a bunch of FTII graduates, right? But it didn't have any of the big stars. But we have to remember, Amitabh and Dharmendra would do, they did Chupke Chupke, they've done these offbeat movies for Rishikesh Mukherjee and others. So, Neelima, do you think Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron would have worked with maybe Amitabh and Dharmendra in the role?
See, while they had a great partnership doing comedy in regular movies or not so regular movies like Chupke Chupke. I don't think they would have worked for Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron because the whole comedy comes from the ordinariness of the characters, and we all know Amitabh and Dharmendra are like giants in front of the screen. You can't do that with Amitabh or Dharmendra. They're never small.
You can't see Amitabh and Dharmendra in a movie where they're completely out of their depth. Because in this movie, by the first 20, 30 minutes, we kind of figure out that Nasir and Ravi Baswani's characters, Vinod and Sudhir, are the whole story is way out of their league. But with Amitabh and Dharmendra, they're always in control. And I think that is a NSD FTII special, the training that you get, the ability to just disappear into a character without your persona getting into the way.
Uh, so that's about Vinod and Sudhir. Who else do you think could have played Shobhaji at that time or today?
Well, of course, the big question is, could Shabana Azmi have played this character?
What do you think? Maybe not at that time. Maybe today. But at that time, I think she was just doing all this
Art
crusader,
cinema,
positive
Smita
roles.
Patil,
Yeah.
Smita Patil. The trick with this question is the kind of characters that are in this movie, it's almost blasphemous to ask the question whether anybody else could have played that role. Are you telling me that you can ask the question that, oh, kya instead of Pankaj Kapur kisi aur ko le sakte hain? Yeah, maybe. Could Smita Patil have done this role? We can't argue, but I think it was very well cast. And Bhakti Barve brings a bit of the naughtiness. She's playing Vinod the entire time, and we'll get into that. Oh, by the way, what folks don't know is apparently Anupam Kher was written into the movie as this crazy semi-blind assassin, and this was going to be his debut movie. He was going to be in the movie for about 10 minutes, and they had created this role, but I watched an interview where Kundan Shah said the story was kind of ancillary to the main story, so they kind of took it out. And I was thinking to myself, yes, like that's all this movie needed is another all-time actor in the movie. All right. So our last segment, this is the Seeti Maar segment where Neelima and I alternate between some of our favorite scenes from the movie. All right, Neelima, you go first.
Okay. My first favorite scene is the opening. Vinod and Sudhir's photo studio, no customers, complete faith in themselves, singing Honge Kamyab.
हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन.
The setup of their innocence before everything goes wrong. And Ravi Baswari's face, his timing, his absolute commitment to the confusion, just their chemistry throughout the film.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Just from the beginning, those two. And Nasir, in an interview, said that he and Ravi had known each other for a long time. They were very good friends. So there is just this easy chemistry between them throughout the movie. One of my favorite movies is the scene at the construction site. It introduced us to Tarneja, played by Pankaj Kapur, and Dimelo. It's a chilling scene because just the casualness around the corruption. It starts with Pankaj Kapur saying,
बिजनेस का एक ही मतलब होता है तुलियानी, दूसरे का नुकसान और अपना फायदा.
कानून आम आदमी के लिए होता है, अपने लिए नहीं.
तबेजा के लिए नहीं.
Exactly. And then DeMello shows up and they casually talk about adding these additional floors, completing this illegal construction. And that's the first time in the movie when it hits you that even though the characters are caricatures and somewhat funny, these guys are actually pretty dark and then sinister people. And then, of course, the immortal line.
और तुम क्या समझता है ये म्युनिसिपालिटी हमारा बाप का है? नो सर, आपका है. ठीक है, हमारा है.
So my second favorite is Om Puri drunk talking into the dead body of DeMello.
रेडिएटर तो ठीक है, कार्बोरेटर भी ठीक है, क्या पंगा है?
I mean, that is a true classic. The way he gets out of the car, DeMello is in this casket, and the conversation back and forth. एक शराबी ही दूसरे शराबी का मदद कर सकता है.
मैं जरा स्टेपनी लेके आता हूँ, गाड़ी में रखी है. शराबी तो शराबी की मदद करेगा.
I think the movie has two set pieces. One is this 10 to 12 minute clip at DeMello's house, and the other is this scene at the end, the Mahabharata scene. The scene at DeMello's house, it's a good 12 minutes long. They all converge. That's the first time the Switzerland ka cake shows up.
हमारा अमेरिका में लोग खाता कम है, फेंकते ज़्यादा है, बहुत मजा आता है.
One interesting scene is Nasir and Bhakti Barwe are outside the window, and they show Nasir eating a banana. Right? So it's this contrast of there is this Switzerland ka cake, imported cake in the inside, and you're eating the poor man's fruit on the outside. Then Ahuja. So we get introduced to Om Puri's character.
हाँ, तो आखिर आपको हमारी बात याद आई गई. ओए, come on, Mr. DeMello. इस धंधे में कपड़ा कौन नहीं करता?
That guy is like drunk the entire movie. DeMello pushes Pankaj Kapur, Satish Kaushik, and Neena Gupta into the bathroom. And then Nasir is taking pictures about either they go, udhar they go.
इधर देखो, उधर देखो, उधर देखो, इधर देखो. Our country का आखिरी सलाम.
That 10 to 12 minutes is just hilarious.
Pure gold, pure comedy gold. My third favorite is Shobhaji playing damsel in distress with Vinod.
ये तस्वीर कैसी है?
बड़ी खूबसूरत है.
और ये?
बहुत अच्छी.
You know she's playing him. He's falling hook, line, and sinker, even defending her when Sudhir tries to make him see reason. 1 minute she's keeping him on her jute ki nook, and the next minute she's saying, "तुम मेरे सपनों के राजकुमार हो," and he still falls for her.
आप बेवकूफ नहीं है.
नहीं नहीं मैं बेवकूफ
नहीं, आप बेवकूफ नहीं
मैं
है.
हूँ.
नहीं, आप नहीं है.
बताओ कहाँ है वो मेरे सपनों का साथी जो मुझे समझेगा?
Starting with that scene in the studio, Karibao, they get slapped, and just Nasir's desperation, romance, love for her. It's the way she drags those guys along. Totally agree. Amazing character that has been developed. All right, we get to save the best for last. The most talked about scene from one of the most talked about movies of all times is the Mahabharata climax. In my opinion, the greatest single scene in Indian comedy.
भैया, ये आप क्या कह रहे हैं? अबे कौन है बे तू? दुर्योधन. तू बे कहाँ है?
And Neelima, no chance that scene gets made today, does
No.
it?
Yeah. Totally agree.
No chance. Akbar shows up, and that is the second set piece in the movie. It's about 13 minutes long. The whole sequence is unbelievable. Folks, if you're not going to watch the entire movie, just do Mahabharata scene, Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron on YouTube. It's just comedy gold. And we talked about this earlier. It looks like everyone is ad-libbing, but they really are not. And some of the most memorable quotes from the movie.
नहीं नहीं, द्रौपदी जैसी सती नारी को देखकर मैंने चीरहरण का आइडिया ड्रॉप कर दिया है.
What do you mean drop कर दिया? नहीं.
ओए, खेलेगी नहीं है, हम सब शेयर होल्डर हैं, हैं?
धर्मराज, अगर तुम आज्ञा दो तो मैं इसकी जुबान खींच के दूं। अबे शांत कर्णधारी भीम, शांत।
And like the idea that there is a Mahabharata scene, ये क्या हो रहा है? The blind Dhritarashtra, ये क्या हो रहा है?
ये क्या हो रहा है दुर्योधन? आप चुप रहिए पिताजी।
And to
Then
top it all, the giant Satish Shah as Draupadi.
yeah, I want to talk about Satisha for a second. So after the interval के बाद, Satisha is a dead man. But the way for a corpse, for an actor to be a corpse, for half the movie, his facial expressions, the way he leans, he's leaning as Draupadi. He's this big dude draped in a sari. He keeps leaning, he keeps falling off. Just the physical comedy of that. I can't remember, Neelima. Can you wear a role where the dead man hangs around for half a movie and that's an iconic role and people are still talking about it 43 years later?
No, no. Never before, never after.
Never before, never after. So
Mhm.
those folks were some of our favorite scenes from the movie. It is such a cult classic that Neelima and I thought that we have to pay tribute. We talked about Bhakti Barve. We talked about Satisha. So Kundan Shah passed away in 2017. Unbelievable legacy. One movie, but if you're ever going to make a movie, that's going to be your legacy and it's going to be one movie. Om Puri unfortunately passes away in 2017 at the age of 66. And I was really sad, Neelima, when Satisha passed away last October at 74.
I know we both felt so sad. We just touched base around that time because it felt personal, felt like somebody from our family.
Satisha was definitely personal.
Yeah.
All right, what's your final take?
My closing thoughts: the cult status of the film and its enduring relevance is mainly due to the timeless dialogues, intelligent tongue-in-cheek humor, the irreverent refusal to take anything seriously, and last but not the least, the liveliest dead body in world cinema.
The liveliest dead body ever in world cinema. I still cannot get over the idea that someone wrote a script about a dead guy being such an iconic role in the movie. For me, Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron is a rare movie. It's a film that in many ways gets through every passing year because the corruption it satirized hasn't gone away, right? The nexus between builders, politicians, police, media, the sense that the fix is in, that the game is rigged, that the only sane response is to laugh is still there. And Kundan Shah made a movie in 1983 that turns out to be about every year that's followed. And I think that's the genius of the movie. In my opinion, I know there are fans of Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron. Andaz Apna Apna has its fans. I know it's many people's favorite movie. Hera Fairy is up there. Angur is up there. But for me, it's still the most funniest sad movie ever made. So with that,
Yes.
folks, we Neelima, as always, a pleasure. Next
Thank you,
week,
Bharat.
thank you. On After the Interval, we have a musical banger with an anti-hero. कभी कभी जीतने के लिए कुछ हारना पड़ता है. In the meantime, if you have suggestions or a request for a movie we should feature, please reach us at aftertheintervalpodcast@gmail.com. Alvida, goodbye. See you in a
Bye.
week.
See you.
Ye kali kali aankhein.
Tururu, tururu.
Tururu.